Hello, everyone, and welcome to Slash Film Daily for Thursday, January 24th, 2019. On today's episode, we're going to talk about the latest film and TV news, and then in the spoiler room, we'll be telling you about Serenity, the most insane movie of 2019, and it's just January. This is Slash Film Editor-in-Chief, Peter Sciretta, and joining me on today's podcast is Slash Film writers, Hoai-Tran.
Hey, everyone.
And Chris Evangelista.
Hello.
Chris, you have like 1 foot out the door. You're about to leave to Park City. That's correct?
Yeah, I'm in a little while. I'm heading to the airport. I have to start popping my pills right now, so they'll take effect by the time I get there.
Damn, we should have recorded while you were on your medicine. It would have been
while I was stoned. Yeah. Next time.
Yeah. And everybody in Slash Film Slack is listening to this new Weezer album that dropped last night. Like, was this a surprise release? Because I didn't hear anything about this.
It was. They pulled a Beyonce.
Yeah, and this is like all covers.
Yeah,
yeah,
and
the whole thing is
really
covered.
good too.
What's your favorite song so far?
I really like No Scrubs. I think that's probably my favorite one because it's unexpected and just it's good.
Chris, how about you?
Yeah, I have to go with No Scrubs too. I think the fun of the album is they do every song straight. Like they don't alter it. They just sound like a really good bar cover band playing songs the way you want to hear them, and that just makes it extra funny that they didn't.
I'm sure Weezer would be very flattered by that description.
Yeah, good work, Weezer, the bar cover band.
I love Weezer. I have yet to listen to this, but I'm also a big fan of Real Big Fish in their cover of Take On Me, and I know they're doing a cover of Take On Me here. I'm hesitant to listen to it because I feel like I'm going to hate it, but is it good?
It is. It just sounds like the original one, but with Weezer. Yeah.
Okay. Let's get into the news before we get to the insanity that is Serenity, and let's start off first with Disney, who it sounds like could cancel The Simpsons and make more money in the process. Chris, what is going on here?
Yeah, so as we all know, The Simpsons has been on for 500 years. It shows no sign of ever slowing down, and in fact, they're currently ironing out a deal right now that will keep it going 2 more years. Right now it's in season 30, so they're hammering at a deal that will keep it going till season 32. By the time that happens, some changes are going to take hold. For one thing, the Disney/Fox deal will be finalized, which means Disney will have a controlling say in The Simpsons. And another thing will be when that time rolls around, it'll be close to the syndication rights lapsing with FX. FX, which is technically a Fox company, bought syndication rights for The Simpsons, for their Simpsons app channel for $750 million. That's how much they paid to get the rights to do that. And that's eventually going to run out. And when that happens, Disney is going to have to make a choice. And according to this article in Variety, Disney actually stands to make more money by just finally canceling the show and selling it out in syndication than keeping it going. Because by keeping it going, they're burning money. It costs a lot to make these shows because the cast, which has remained mostly in place since the beginning, have worked out very good deals to get paid a lot of money. Then it's expensive to make the animation and so on. So it's not exactly like a money maker. So in theory, if they got rid of this and if they started selling off streaming rights to Netflix or Hulu or another network, anything like that, they could stand to make a very big profit, much more than the original $750 million.
Yeah, and they're also talking about splitting up the distribution of the syndications. And right now, FX owns all of it, right? And they're talking about splitting it up into like 3 different libraries or 3 different, I guess, maybe decades of content. And
yeah, that's the other thing. It's like there's so much content. There's like over 500 episodes. There's so much to spread around. So I'm sure they're gonna calculate this in the lab and figure out what's the most money making option, and that's the one they're gonna do.
See, this is weird to me because it seems to me that keeping The Simpsons on there, not that I know anybody in my life that still watches The Simpsons, but it seems to me that the syndication rights would be worth more money if The Simpsons is still on the air and being marketed in some way. Like, I don't know. And it also seems to me like Disney is a company that loves their characters. They love owning characters and franchises. And, you know, The Simpsons is a big franchise and, you know, has tons of characters. Unfortunately, the theme park rights to The Simpsons are owned by Universal Studios in most of the United States. So that prevents Disney from, you know, taking advantage of them in the theme parks. HT, would it hurt you at all if they canceled The Simpsons?
It would not. No. I was never a regular watcher of The Simpsons. I think I've seen like a handful of episodes, and I definitely am not watching any more right now. But it is kind of it feels kind of counterintuitive that canceling would make them more money. I feel like having the property on the air would do that. But yeah, I mean, I think there's such strong pop culture legacy characters that canceling the show wouldn't make a difference.
I feel like right now there's probably more money to be made out of them by doing movies. Like, I know they did a movie like 10 years ago at this point. I'm surprised that they haven't followed up on that. I guess maybe now that Disney owns them, maybe they could do something that's connected with Disney, like The Simpsons go to Disneyland. I don't know. Maybe that's not a good idea. But you know, let's move on to another Disney thing, and that is that it looks like Lin-Manuel Miranda is working on the first Latina princess movie for the Mouse House. What do we know, HD?
According to a report from Page Six, Miranda is working on a secret Disney project, according to Lin-Manuel Miranda's father, Luis, who told the tabloid he is talking to Disney about a sequel to Moana, but the movie would be about a Latina princess. So this isn't quite a reputable source, but Lin-Manuel Miranda is sort of in the pocket of the House of Mouse. He has co-written the songs for Moana to great success, an Oscar-nominated success, or winning success? Yeah, Oscar-nominated success. And he's also recently starred in Mary Poppins Returns. But so we don't really know exactly whether this movie is confirmed, but it could possibly be in relation to the new animated film from director Byron Howard, who directed Tangled and Zootopia, and which is we know that Miranda is currently working on a movie with him. So it's possible that all of these will collide, and we will get our first Latina Disney princess, which we surprisingly haven't received yet, despite us getting even more diverse roles and princesses lately. Yeah. Although there was a princess at the center of the Disney TV series, Elena of Avalor, but she wasn't an official Disney princess.
She's all over the Disney parks, by the way. Like, I always see her like doing character greetings, and there's always a line down the walkway for her. So she's very popular, even though she's only a TV princess, I guess. It's interesting because, you know, if Disney is doing their first Latina princess, and if this is this Byron Howard movie, it would be another white guy doing, you know, I mean, I guess Disney was so successful with Moana, and that was by two old white dudes, right? Like, yes. I feel like that movie probably feels more authentic than anything I've seen in recent years in terms of like, you know, that world.
For Polynesian culture, yeah. You mean? Because Coco did a really great job as well.
Yeah.
And they had a Hispanic co-director. Yeah. But Disney and Pixar especially have been really good about bringing cultural consultants on. And I know they brought on several cultural consultants for Moana. So this would be a good step because Lin-Manuel Miranda is from Puerto Rico. So he has that Latino heritage. So that would have like the first step there. But yeah, it is kind of troublesome, I guess, but I wouldn't be upset because I absolutely love Tangled. And if Disney like approaches this in a proper way by bringing on cultural consultants and bringing on other crew who are of Latinx descent, then I think this could be a good potential film. Yeah,
I know that Disney has seen with Coco that there's huge money in that Latina, Latin market, and I think they're hoping to take advantage of it. Not to sound, I think it's all business, but it is show business. And we were talking about Byron Howard, and he is one of the directors of Zootopia, and they just announced that they are making a land for Zootopia in Shanghai Disneyland. And when I first saw Zootopia, I was like, sitting there in the theater and they're giving, she arrives on that like monorail train thing. I was like, oh, this is totally going to be a land in one of the Disney parks. I had predicted it was going to be Animal Kingdom in the States, but now we're learning it's going to be in Shanghai. HT, what do we know?
Well, Zootopia is a Zootopia after all. And it's getting its first Zootopia-themed land at Shanghai Disneyland, like you said, at the themed resort in Pudong, Shanghai, as part of the second major expansion for the resort since it opened in 2016. And the reason that it's in Shanghai Disneyland is probably because Zootopia was a mega hit in China. It went on to earn about $236 million at the country's box office, which was an all-comers record for an animation film in Chinese theaters. And it's developed quite a popular following in China as well. So it's not a surprise that it's coming to Shanghai Disneyland first, although, it would seem like the first option would be Animal Kingdom. But this also is not the first time that Disney has tested out attractions or opened attractions in international Disney parks before moving it over to Disney World or Disneyland.
Oh, for sure. And I think a lot of people are surprised because Zootopia isn't a franchise that they thought was big enough to... I mean, this isn't just a ride. It's its own land. And to me, that signals that we're probably going to get a Zootopia sequel at some point. Either a sequel or a TV series or something. Like, I don't think Disney would be investing a whole land if it was just that movie and, we're moving on. But, okay, let's move on to Netflix. They recently announced that they're increasing pricing. Chris, what kind of effect do they expect this to have on subscribers?
So a survey was done, and, it's worth pointing out that this is just a survey of about 607 random subscribers. So it's obviously not every Netflix user. But based on this survey, they've learned that at least 27% of the people surveyed said they're considering canceling because of this price increase. And others said they would be happy to just pay less for Netflix with ads on it. So it seems like some people are just not very happy about this.
How much is this price increase?
Let's see. It bumped up considerably. So their plan now is $9. It was originally around $7. So it's not a small increase. And at the same time, Hulu has decreased their prices.
I don't know, like $2 extra and a quarter of the subscribers supposedly are thinking about quitting the service. I don't know, I don't consider myself a rich person. But paying $2 more a month for what Netflix offers seems like a bargain to me. HT, is this price increase going to scare you away from Netflix?
Well, I currently don't pay for my Netflix plan, so it probably won't. But I will probably stay with it. Netflix just dictates so much of what I and everyone watches that it would take a lot more for it to get me to cancel.
I feel like these are people in a survey saying this and not what they would actually do in reality. Like, Chris, you write about Netflix for a living, basically. Yes. But aside from that, would this price increase be enough to detour you away from being a subscriber?
No, I'm going to stick with it for now. I can't see it getting to the point where I can't afford it, but knock on wood. But for now, I'm all right with it. I mean, I would prefer if it were lower, but I'm okay as is for now.
I don't know. I feel like Netflix is one of the biggest bargains that you can get in terms of like how much original content they provide and how much it costs. But, I don't know. Maybe I'm in the minority. Maybe it will be like 27% of subscribers canceling. That would be pretty shocking. And I know Disney is planning to offer their streaming service for considerably less than what Netflix's new price is. So we'll have to see what happens once the streaming wars actually begin. But let's go back to our old friend MoviePass. They don't seem to know what they're doing. They're like, hey guys, we're still here. Come back. We want to be friends. HT, what is going on here?
Welcome back to MoviePass Daily.
Yeah.
We haven't checked in with our friend MoviePass in a while, but they're still here. You're right. And kind of like a bad boyfriend, they want you to come back to them. And they want to tell you that they haven't changed. Because...
You know what? That's a very astute analogy, because for a while they were ghosting us, and then, I don't know. It really does feel like they're like, now we're getting the texts. Every day I get like emails from them. They're like, hey, I'm still, it feels like that boyfriend that relationship where the person's trying to re-spark the relationship, and you're like, I'm not interested, dude. I'm just not interested.
Yeah, and in this case, MoviePass is trying to re-spark that relationship by going back to when it was good. They're reportedly bringing back their unlimited plan as part of their new relaunch to attempt to bring back new and old subscribers. So according to a report from Variety, MoviePass is planning to bring back a new version of its unlimited plan that first got it into trouble in the first place, but also, skyrocketed to fame. And that would enable users to see as many movies as they want each month. However, the pricing for this new unlimited plan has not yet been revealed, but it would be in addition to the current 3-tier ticketing structure that MoviePass is going to implement, which ranges from $9.95 a month to $19.95 a month. And we don't know where this unlimited plan would fall. I'm guessing it would probably be the most expensive one, but if they want to, keep their customers or draw new customers in, it would probably be along the lines of the middle somewhere.
See, this is tough because I love AMC A-List. But, especially during this time of year where I'm trying to catch up on all that, the smaller award films, it's hard to see them at AMC because AMC does, shows the biggest and best and newest. They don't really show all those films. And, I can't go to the ArcLight with my AMC A-List, but, I could with... Well, actually, I couldn't go with MoviePass because for some reason MoviePass doesn't support that theater. But I could go to almost any other theater with MoviePass. But I feel like I'm just so over it, HD. I'm so over it. I hate to be drilling down on this relationship analogy, but I feel like it's that point in the post relationship where you're like, I'm over it and I'm done, and I don't care what kind of things this person tries to tempt me with. I'm just ignoring that. I'm ignoring them right now because even though it sounds like they're offering a good deal, I just don't think I want to deal with it.
Yeah, we already went through all that heartbreak.
Yeah, totally. Is this enough to get you to come back to MoviePass?
I already canceled too, and I wonder, I think MoviePass still has that weird policy where they don't let you sign back up for a year with the same email address.
Yeah, it's kind of like that boyfriend was like, if you break up with me, it's over. We're not going to get back together. That's what MoviePass is doing, right? Exactly.
So it feels like even if you do want to go back for the unlimited plan, you can't if you already canceled.
Yeah.
So
they need to get rid of that policy. That's just ridiculous. And it looks like Chris's ride to the airport is here. He has to leave us. Chris, thanks for joining us.
Thank you. Yes, I will. I'm off to Sundance.
Okay, we'll hear from you there. Hope you see some great films, and hope the airplane experience is not too painful for you.
All right, thank you.
Okay, now onto the spoiler room. We usually don't do this until after a movie has been out for a weekend, but I really feel like this is a movie that no one is going to see. I had no plans on seeing this until you started telling me the spoilers. So, first of all, HT, tell me what is this movie, without telling me any spoilers. Before, we're not getting into spoilers just yet. So if you don't have to tune out just yet, tell me what is this movie and what did you think about it without getting into spoilers?
All right. So this movie is called Serenity. It's a neo-noir thriller starring Matthew McConaughey and Anne Hathaway. And Matthew McConaughey stars as a fishing boat captain on this fictional fishing island called Baker Dill. And he has a chip on his shoulder and a traumatic past that gets resurfaced when his ex-wife, played by Anne Hathaway, comes to him and asks him to kill her husband, who has been abusing her, as well as her and Baker Dill's young son. And so Matthew McConaughey is torn about this, and the premise of this film essentially is will he kill this abusive alcoholic husband played by Jason Clarke? And that's what you think that this movie will be, a sordid, seedy neo-noir with Anne Hathaway as the femme fatale, and some vast conspiracy coming in. But there's something a little off about this movie. Not only is it strangely heightened and very arch, there are supernatural elements that start trickling in that seem to plant the seeds for it harboring some sort of greater twist, which we'll get to later. And
everything you said has been kind of hinted at in the trailers and stuff, so it's not like you're spoiling anything other than the fact that there is a twist, I guess.
Yes. And this is a crazy twist. So, at first you think that this is a trashy sort of high-budget Lifetime movie about a sordid romance and a murder plot. But it turns out that it is something much more.
Okay. I feel like there's no way for you to give your opinion on this movie without discussing the spoilers. Is that correct?
There really is not. I was struggling over writing this review because 99% of my enjoyment of this film hinged on the twist that happens 2/3 of the way through the movie and basically just had me whispering, "What the fuck?" the entire time.
Yeah, your review says that the thriller doesn't just jump the shark, it vaults and somersaults over it. It's pretty insane. And this is like a film that I had no interest in seeing. It's not even a film that I had an interest in seeing when it, hits Netflix later on, until I read in our Slack channel you talking about the spoilers from this film. So that said, we're gonna begin to talk spoilers for Serenity. If you don't want to know them and you just want to go in blind, do you actually recommend people go see this? Actually,
I do, just for the sheer audacity of this harebrained, bonkers twist that flips this movie on its head and turns it into something that is just like a juggernaut of a baffling film. I can't express how much this twist just made me sit back in my seat. And I can't in good faith say that it's a good movie. It can be divided into two very disparate films that take place on both sides of the twist, and neither of those films are very good. But just the sheer ambition, it's so brazen. I can't help but admire it.
Okay, so there you go. You have had proper warning. We're now going to spoil Serenity. So HT, walk us through it. What happens in this twist?
All right. So about 2/3 of the way through the film, Baker Dill encounters a businessman played by Jeremy Strong who has been trying to reach him the entire film. And the businessman essentially reveals that Baker Dill is a character in a video game that is being played by his son. And his son is tampering with and rewriting the code to this video game to play out his fantasies of killing a digital version of his abusive stepfather.
You wrote this in our Slack channel, and we were all like, well, "You're fucking with us, right?" We didn't even believe that this could be real.
Yeah, nope, this is real. This is a real movie that went through studio and stars 2 Oscar winners.
So, I don't even know where to begin here. What were you how does it deal this out? Is this in one big wallop, or is it stretched out? You're kind of wondering, who is this person? How is it
It's essentially in one big wallop. They do plant some seeds and some foreshadowing throughout the film, but it really does not prepare you for the reveal. Basically what happens is that Jeremy Strong's businessman, who's named Reed Miller, tries to approach Baker Dill and tell him, "Don't kill the abusive husband." And he's like, "How do you know I'm going to kill him?" And he says, essentially something along the lines of "I am the rules." And it turns out that Reed Miller is, the manifestation.
"I am the rules."
I am the rules. That's the line of dialogue from this movie. And he's like, "What do you mean you are the rules?" And it turns out Reed Miller is, the manifestation of the game, fighting back against the code that the kid is inputting in to like turn this very mundane fishing game into a murder game.
So are we supposed to care about programmed characters that don't exist in reality?
I mean, you don't care for them even when you think they're real characters. But it's just so wacky because, Baker Dill then has a whole existential crisis about free will. He launches a little bit into his true detective persona where he's like, do we really, decide anything? And the other characters, all NPCs, are like, what are you talking about? And they're like very cheery, and it suddenly becomes kind of Truman Show-esque. And honestly, kind of like an episode of Black Mirror, but somehow way more insane. And there's just he tries to end up going through with the plot to kill the stepfather, and the NPCs try to get in his way. At one point, the NPC played by Jimon Hanso hires a group of gangsters to break the hands of the husband so that he can't go on the fishing trip. And I'm like, what is this movie?
What is going on here? Wait, you mentioned Black Mirror, and this does remind me of Black Mirror because, as I said on this podcast, I feel like much of the appeal of Black Mirror to me is discovering what the episode is about. Like, you start watching it, and it starts off normally, and then like once it clicks in of like, oh, this is what it is. That's what is kind of fascinating about Black Mirror to me. Like once you get the concept, like if this was an episode of Black Mirror, would it be one of the bad episodes, or would it be an enjoyable mess of a good episode? Like, what would it be?
Probably the latter. It's definitely more enjoyably messy than it is well done. But I don't know. I feel like if it was a Black Mirror episode, the film's grasp of technology would be better, because I'm not sure that Stephen Knight has ever played a video game based on like the way that he builds this movie and the sort of antics that Baker Dill gets into. Like, it does feel like a fictional alternate reality, but not a video game reality. Like, I wonder how this character is having like so much sex with like Diane Lane's kimono wearing mistress in a game that looks more like a retro sort of like 80s fishing game than anything. So I'm just like, I don't know what game he's been playing, the director Stephen Knight. Yeah,
like the only time I've ever seen a fishing game is in like one of those like southern bars kind of things. Like,
yeah,
I don't know. This kind of reminds me of. Did you ever see the John August film, The Nines?
No, I haven't.
No, John August, for those who don't know, is screenwriter of Go, Charlie's Angels, Big Fish, Frankenweenie. He's a big screenwriter in Hollywood, and he actually has a podcast that I listen to and love. He, in 2007, made a film called The Nines, which premiered at Sundance, and actually it was way ahead of its time because it starred Ryan Reynolds, Hope Davis, Melissa McCarthy, and Elle Fanning. So it had like a great cast of people that are now very popular. Like, Elle Fanning was unknown. Melissa McCarthy, this is, before she hit it big. And Ryan Reynolds was not Deadpool at the time. So, like, these were all before they were big people. And the film centers around three men, all played by Ryan Reynolds, who are trying to uncover a secret about the strange happenings in their lives. And I'm not going to spoil that movie here because I actually very much enjoyed it. But it isn't a video game, so it isn't like, you can connect the dots. But I think it's inspired partially by video games and John August's his experiences in like MMOs and stuff like that. So I would recommend, if this sounds appealing to you, maybe check out The Nines, HT, because right. I really like that film. I wonder how it holds up because I haven't seen it in a decade. But this sounds truly insane. Like, I don't even. Should I waste my AMC A-list to go see this, or should I just wait until it's on my TV?
I mean, you're not wasting your AMC A-list. You do get 3 movies a week.
Yeah.
I don't use those 3
A-list movies either, so it's
I think this is an AMC A-list movie.
So it's just about, like, is it worth my time going to the theater and...
I think so.
You think so?
It was definitely a surprise to me. I mean, I'm not sure how it'll play for you now that you do know the twist. And I feel like, because I did say that I feel like the majority of my experience of it was just from being blown away by this twist. But it does have like this campy, heightened experience to it, and very stylish directorial flair by Stephen Knight that is a little bit much sometimes. It's very over the top, that it is enjoyable in that sense. I saw someone on Twitter, Matt Donata, who freelances for Slash Film on Twitter, ask, is this a wacky bring a flask to the movie, or is it you don't need alcohol to enjoy this movie? And honestly, both.
Both at the same time. That's wow. Okay. Let's wrap it up. I want to plug some things on the site. Jack Drew, who does interviews for us, has an interview with the director of this movie, Stephen Knight, talking about how he doesn't want to put his movies in a genre box. So you can read that on the site. HG, you have a piece on the site today, right?
Yes. So I have a bi-weekly column called Pop Culture Imports, in which I compile the best foreign movies and TV shows that are currently streaming. Some that I want to recommend are an Argentinian film called The German Doctor, which is on Hulu, which gives a different twist on the sort of Nazi war crime historical drama. It unfolds as more of a family drama that eventually becomes a little bit more horrifying as it goes along, and kind of follows this family who become friends with a mysterious German doctor who turns out to be a real-life Nazi war criminal. And then another one I want to recommend is a Sony, just S-O-N-I, from Netflix, which is a Hindi-language crime drama that takes the gender politics of India to task and stars 2 women who are female police officers, and vastly different, but have a very complex dynamic and relationship that is really fascinating to watch.
Yeah, and you talk about a bunch more things, including the Godzilla anime, so check that out on the site. That's Pop Culture Imports. I'll link it in the show notes. And the last thing I want to plug is our writer, Marshall Schaefer. He put together a Streamer's Guide to Sundance 2019, what non-festival goers can go watch at home. So if you are, feeling some FOMO of not being in Park City, me and HT can open this guide and check out some films from some of these filmmakers and Sundance history. It's worth checking out. HT, where can people find more of your work online?
You can find me writing every day at slashfilm.com, and I'm on Twitter at htranbui.
And you can find me at /film on all social media. You can find this podcast and all the stories we mentioned in the podcast on /film.com. This podcast, /film Daily, is published on iTunes, Google Play, Overcast, Spotify, all the popular podcast apps. Please feel free to send us your feedback, questions, comments, concerns to us at peter@slashfilm.com. And go rate and review this podcast on iTunes. Tell your friends, spread the word, and we'll see you tomorrow.